Wonderful people, good evening once again. My name is Yao Anefi Ajimai. Recently, I posted a video about the search for our brother Darius Appian, who vanished some few weeks back, and the family made a police report, which the police also started their investigations by searching for this fellow Ghanaian. According to reports, he was found, but the unfortunate result was he was found dead, not alive. So the authorities stopped or discontinued their investigations. And according to sources, the families of this fellow Ghanaian who is now deceased are not happy with the conduct of the Virginia Police Department. And according to family members, they are suspecting foul play on the death of their beloved son. But unfortunately, the police wanted to end the investigation since the body has been found. And the family made a press conference to establish their grievances about the conduct of the Virginia Police Department. So I'm not going to waste much time, but before then, I will say thank you very much for the video. When I posted it on my TikTok page, I think we got more than 24,000 views, and that was very encouraging. It tells you how serious you all supported in the search for this fellow brother. TikTok is not a big space for me to play all the video that I have, but I'll play a little bit, but the rest will be on my YouTube page. If you search for I am at Yao Anefi, you can watch the video there, and then you can get full details about the press conference that was held by the family members. So, but before I leave you, let me quickly play except from the press conference for you to also listen to the side of the family members. This press conference was held at the station where they found our brothers to life.
Let's need whoever speaking to make sure they're close to this.
Organize the press conference. It's a very sad, very unfortunate situation, but everything happens for a reason. So we don't have much to say. We thank you once again for the support. You guys did very well for sharing the video and for the Ghanaian community in Virginia, studies best area, because we also contributed a lot by helping the family members to search for their beloved one. And the family is happy because even the police involvement is less.
One step
After what they were expecting from the U.S. police. So let's watch the video and then let's take the
kindly advise us on who's here today?
I'm here with TC News Now. This is Anthony. He's next to me.
Channel 4 from Washington.
I'm Wes with Channel 9 from Washington.
So with the Fredericksburg Free Press.
Thank you. I know that Fox 5 is on their way, but I told them we would pick up with them afterwards so we could get started. Thank you. Today, we just want to thank the media for making the time to come out and listen to what our family has to say about the tragic loss of our son, Darius Joshua Appian. I'm Eunice Appian.
My name is Maxwell Appian.
And we're pastors at Revelation City Church in Fredericksburg. On January 24th, our son, Darius Appian, went missing. We reported to Stafford County Sheriff's Office at approximately 11:59 p.m. that day because it was very abnormal and unusual for him not to be home at that time. It was not part of his behaviors or his patterns. We'd also tried to call him on several occasions, and his phone continued to go to voicemail. So we were very concerned. We even drove up to his workplace prior to calling the police just to see if he'd worked late that day. When we got there, the store was closed, parking lot was empty, and we were still hoping the best. When we called the police, they came by. They, maybe about an hour after we placed our call, they showed up. Oddly, as soon as they came in the house, they said that they had to leave. They were gone for about 30 minutes and then came back again, and they took our report. They explained to us that Darius was an adult and that, you know, he has every right to be out of his house. And if they locate him, they don't have to let us know where he is because maybe he wants to be out at that time. And we told them that we know our son. We have a very good relationship as a family. He has no reason to be out and not communicate. So they told us that if we wished to, we could file a missing persons report, which we did. Even though that may have seemed extreme to them because of his age, knowing his behaviors, it was just too odd for us. And so we went ahead and filed the report. We didn't see any movement on it until later in the afternoon on Thursday. I think they went to his workplace to see if he went to work. We had gone up there ourselves that morning to find out what time did he leave work on Wednesday. That's when we learned that Darius had left work at 2:22 p.m., which is not his usual time of leaving work, but his manager said that things were slow and that they were letting him off early. And he had completed his task, so it looked like he clocked out and left. At that point, we were devastated because we were like, okay, he left work at 2:22, and we didn't hear from him at all that day, which would have been Wednesday. So we immediately came home. He has a MacBook at home that synced to his phone, even though his phone was still going straight to voicemail, even into Thursday. So we decided to go into his MacBook because it syncs with his phone. And his younger brother, who helped us do that, noticed that he had purchased a meal through DoorDash at 2:21. And that's, right before, I guess, he clocked out. And that's what gave us our first tip to where Darius's whereabouts were. So we gave the police that information immediately. This is Thursday afternoon. And after that, we didn't hear anything back from them. So late Thursday night, we were a little bit concerned. It's Thursday night going into Friday. So I called Stafford County Sheriff's Office and I asked for a supervisor, and I told them that I'm very concerned about my son and I want someone to go out and find out where he is. And they said, okay, it looks like the detectives will be in the morning and we will give them your concern. Later on that morning, we got a call at about 11:40. This is Friday. And at that point, that's when we were informed that Darius's car was found parked here in the parking lot, right about that area there. They asked us if we had a key because they would otherwise have to break the window to get in. So we came up here and we gave them the key to open the door. When they opened the door, they saw that his jacket that he wore was still in the car, and some of the food that he purchased was still in the car. The door was locked. His keys and cell phone were not in the car. And so at that point, they brought in dogs. The dogs smelled his coat and picked up a scent. When the dogs picked up the scent, His car is still parked there. The dogs went down into that direction and kept going down. At that point, I couldn't see where the dogs went anymore from here. So we were just waiting. And when the dogs came back, I heard one of the officers say, I think they picked up a scent over by the water. And so I was a little hysterical. I was like, the water? And that's when immediately the lieutenant told us that we had to leave the park because they needed to search. So we were expecting to uncover something at that point. They searched, and somewhere around 5 p.m. they told us that they would have to come back to the next day, which was Saturday. Now, mind you, these were the warmest days of that week. The temperature was in the 60s at that time. They kicked us out. They wouldn't allow us to search with them, which I can understand whatever, reasons they had for that. But we were trusting them to conduct the proper search. And they came back on Saturday. They searched until about 2 p.m. and then they came to us. We had a large group of people just waiting that wanted to help to search, but they said they couldn't. So they came back to us and told us that only one person could come back here. They needed to tell us something. And so I was so concerned. I was like, well, what do they need to tell us? And so my husband was like, just go ahead if you want to. And so I came back here. They had a command station set up back there. And so I went in and they showed me this map. They told me that they had searched over 400 acres. And that also they had people who walked through the creek 4 miles both ways. And I told them that I was recording. I said, is it okay if I record? They're like, yeah, you can record in Virginia. You can record even if you don't tell anyone. So I did record this. And they told me that they searched 4 miles that way down the creek. They had people walking both ways. And they told me that they searched 400 acres. And he said, I can tell you 100% your son is not in this park. And so I was just like, okay. And then as I was leaving, I just broke down. I was crying. And I just shared with some family members that I just don't feel like they really searched. I was like, for them to be so definitive, to say that they've turned over 400 acres and gone all these miles through the water, it just doesn't make sense to me. And so I asked him, why do you think the dogs picked up a scent if he's not here? And they were like, oh, well, maybe they just wanted to play in the water. Yes, that's what they said. And so I was like, okay. But just as a mother, my instinct was just telling me that they didn't search. So I shared with some of the people that were part of our friends and family, and they said that, you know what, we'll support you. We can come back out and search on our own. So we planned to come back the following Sunday. Unfortunately, it rained so hard that Saturday night. It was one of the worst nights of my life because I'm thinking, where is my child? And it's raining and it got so cold. And so we come back here Sunday morning and the creek has risen. They even closed that gate. You couldn't drive through because the creek had risen so much you couldn't even see the concrete area that you drive over to get in here. And I just kept thinking in my mind, please let them be right that my child isn't here. Let them be right that my child is just out hanging out with his friends somewhere. I just kept saying, Lord, let them be right. I would prefer they be right. And so we searched and we didn't see anything, but they kept saying, you know what? Let's come back again because we couldn't search the creek because it was moving. It was like a torrent. It was moving so quickly and no one could go in there safely to look. And so everyone was like, they had to work during the week. So the police weren't out here still searching. We drove around. We kept going back to the restaurant, passing out flyers, doing everything we could. And on Saturday, we decided to come back again and search the park. This time, we really broadcasted it on social media. And we had upwards of 200 people that showed up here on Saturday. And the community, our friends, family, it was a mixed multitude of people came out to help look for Darius. And we're forever grateful to everyone that came because at least we have some closure, because if we left it to the police, we would probably forever be wondering when our child was going to come home. But they searched, they walked through the water, and within 45 minutes of the search, they found his body not even a mile away from where the dogs picked up the scent. And up till now, I still haven't even seen my child's body. I haven't seen my child. I don't even know if it's really him. They called us to the police station, and they told us they'd found Darius. And I said, how do you know that it's him? And they're like, we've ID'd him because his wallet was in his pocket. Up till now, I don't even know. And
it's very emotional at this stage. She's finding it difficult to continue.
those who saw him said that his face was just hanging in the water. Today I got a call from the funeral home, and they're telling us that because of how long he's in the water, they don't think that it's a good idea to even have an open casket. So I don't even know if I'm even gonna see my child.
According to her, the funeral home said they cannot open
We got to the
body
police station.
nature.
Instead of letting us know what happened, they started asking us, when was the last time you saw Darius? They started asking us questions instead of answering questions, of letting us know when was the last time they saw Darius. They were the ones that should have found Darius. It should have never been the community, but I'm so thankful for them, but I couldn't believe that those were the questions they were asking us. And I have a lot of questions for them. How is it that you claim that you have emergency management trained people searching through this park, no stone unturned? Fortunately or unfortunately, you didn't find him, but the community was able to find him. So either, and if you're insinuating that he wasn't there and now he's there, then that means there must be foul play. But you're saying there's no sign of foul play. So which one is it? We need to get to the bottom of this. Now they're going around to my son's job trying to find a way to close this case, asking his coworkers, did he have any known health issues? How? You asked me that question when we were at the station, and at the police station, and I told you everything that you needed to know. So what are you really trying to do? Why aren't you investigating where his phone is, where his keys are? Why aren't you investigating that? We don't know where. Why aren't you investigating how his body got there since you claim you searched everything? I think I'm done. I'm just so frustrated. We need help. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to know what happened to Darius Joshua Appian. We can't let the police just keep getting away with covering things up and just making things seem like everything is okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
That particular area where he was found, you were told by law enforcement that they looked in that exact spot, correct?
They told me that they had people go 4 miles down the creek.
And the creek moves this way,
Yes,
right?
it flows down that way.
Did they make any suggestions as to how he appeared there during your search?
No, that doesn't even seem to be of interest to them. They're more concerned of whether he had a health condition. It seems to me that they just want to find a way to close the case and just make it seem like it was just some natural cause. That's what it seems like to me. Because if they claim they searched there, then why was he there now? So I have questions too. Another thing that was very concerning to me is that when we were at the station, one of the sergeants told me that, you know, we had just spoken to Stafford County and we were going to go and search that area again on Monday. And I was like, really? Well, the detective at Stafford County told me they weren't working Friday. So I'd like to see the evidence of that conversation where there's documented by phone, email, what have you, that they intended to go there on Monday. Because that's really odd to me because no one told me about that. The last thing I knew was that they weren't doing anything unless they received a substantial tip. So
Was Stafford County the lead on?
Stafford County was the lead on this. In fact, when Fredericksburg was done with their search here, they told us that they were done with their part. And I went to Stafford County and said, well, Fredericksburg says they've exhausted their efforts. What do we do now? If he's not at the park, maybe he's somewhere around. Are we going to keep searching? And Stafford County told me, well, you need to talk to Fredericksburg. And I said, well, Fredericksburg said I need to talk to you. And so there's this like pointing fingers at who's supposed to be responsible for what part. And I understand that there are jurisdictional issues, but they should be able to communicate. I shouldn't be the one having to, tell them, are you going to search here and search there? I just don't feel like they took this as seriously as they should have. Especially considering that they told me that my son was probably hanging out with his friends and would be back home.
Do you have any guesses as to why he came to this park? Have you guys been speculating?
I don't know why he came to the park. I know that he's a person that likes nature and likes parks. I don't know. I don't know if he got off of work early that day. They said that, you get to get off early and he decided to get something to eat and come to the park. I don't know. I don't know if he went to the restaurant and then someone told him to come to the park. I don't know what happened. I feel like the police should be figuring all this out. That's why I called them. Like, we should feel safe in a community to call our police and expect that they're going to help us get to the bottom of things. And so it's very concerning to me. I really don't know why all of this is happening. So, I don't know.
The conversation you referenced, and you said they told you that you 100% was not in the park. Was that with Stafford?
That was Fredericksburg.
Okay. Were you guys able to get anywhere looking at the phone through the computer?
No, it says location not found. But they pinged the cell towers because when we gave them the tip that we'd seen that he ordered food at 2:21, they pinged the cell towers from the restaurant and realized that he was in this general vicinity through here where the restaurant was in Lafayette.
Do you feel as parents that your concerns and worries for your son were ever taken seriously by police?
I feel like initially they were not maybe because of his age, maybe because of him being a male. I don't think they initially were taken very seriously, but I kept pushing. And that's where I saw a little bit of movement that led to them, pinging the towers and finding his car here. And they did do a search. I don't know how intensive it was because a group of novices found him and the police didn't. So I don't know how intensive it was. But after they searched the park, I didn't see any seriousness from my perspective. In fact, I started asking them, well, have you checked his phone calls? Have you checked text messages? Have you called people? They're like, well, we can't just call people. We have to research them. And I'm like, well, so what are you going to do? Like, we're just going to sit here, or is someone going to be out looking to see where he is? His phone is off. I went to the bank on Monday, not this Monday, but the week before, after their search, and I found out that none of his bank account was being used, none of his check cards, his credit card that's linked to his bank account wasn't being used. I called the detective right from the bank and let the bank representative share that information so that they would also know how serious it was. And so I don't know. And another thing that really, really bothered me was the fact that for both search parties, we invited Stafford County. We also notified Fredericksburg. There was absolutely no police presence to support our search parties. So that to me also indicates to me that there wasn't any level of concern to me. Because if we're searching and you take it a little serious, even if someone comes by for like 10 minutes just to see what we're doing, like they didn't do anything. So
When you say search parties, you mean both searches, or just the police weren't involved in either search?
So the police did their own search, and we weren't satisfied with their search. And so we coordinated search party through the community. We posted on Facebook. We passed out flyers through the neighborhood. And in fact, the person that located him was someone that lives around in the community. It wasn't even a friend or family member of ours. There's someone that lived in the community that cared to come out and help. So, but the police didn't care to come out and help.
And then just to clarify everything, did you initially talk to Fredericksburg Police or Stafford County Police? Who was the original?
When we first made our missing person report, Stafford County. We live in Stafford County. We live in Fredericksburg, but it's Stafford County.
Okay, and then did Stafford County pass you off to Fredericksburg?
No, they were managing the case, but because this park is in the jurisdiction of Fredericksburg, they had to have Fredericksburg do the search.
What do you want to say to the community and the people who came and helped your son, who probably didn't even know him?
Yeah, I mean, I think I did thank them in the onset, but I do want to thank them again because, where the law wasn't able to get it done, the love and the compassion of the community got it done. And it just shows that, like, just the power of just unity and having true care. Like, people had empathy. And I think that's the thing that was lacking with the police. I know they see these things all the time, but I think we have to learn to have a little bit of empathy. We cannot just become cold just because there's so much wickedness and things that you don't have answers to in the world. I think we have to maintain that empathy and that spirit of love. We can't get cold. And that's what I see. Everything is just, for the police, has just become like, just check the boxes. And so I appreciate the community for going above and beyond, for sacrificing your time, taking risks, because this terrain isn't, for... Yeah, people hike here and stuff. They took risks, and I mean, it's helped our family to have some semblance of closure, of at least knowing. Honestly, I don't even know for sure. I haven't seen my son, but they say it was him, of knowing that at least we're not going to wonder every day, is he going to come home today? Are they going to find him today? Just wondering every day. So we thank you. We appreciate you. God bless you, increase you, your family, your loved ones, for what you've done. We appreciate it.
So do you believe that when the police didn't take it very seriously, do you believe that the police was treating this case like any other missing persons case? Like, missing persons happen often, so they didn't treat it like seriously.
I don't know how they treat other missing persons cases, but I know that they did not do a good job with ours. And it makes me now not be so surprised. Like sometimes you would hear like, oh, someone's missing. It doesn't hit home until like it happens to you. And sometimes you see signs and you're wondering like, well, how could this person be missing for all this time? But now it makes sense, because if you don't step in and advocate for yourself, you can't always depend on the police that they're going to get that job done for you. I hate to say that because I've never felt this way about the police before now, but now I kind of like I've always been someone that's defended law enforcement. I tell people to like respect them. That's what I teach, respect the authorities. And so, it hurts me a lot. It hurts me a lot.
So many people, got to hear of Darius only when he went missing or when he was found. What do you want everyone to know about the person of Darius?
Thank you for asking that, because I think sometimes that gets lost. Did you want to say something? Okay.
First of all, I would say Darius.
Would you mind just standing closer to the mic? Thank you.
First of all, I would say that Darius was a Christian, and he is still a Christian. And he carries all the attributes of a Christian child. A very loving person. He's full of joy, very forgiving, friendly, and kind. Darius is a very peaceful person. I've never seen Darius raise his voice on any person. And he's somebody who loves nature. Darius will not kill an ant or even a snake. Darius was somebody who was looking into a brighter future. He loves to, he has the flair for arts, designing, and he's somebody that he wanted to be a household name. What I mean by that, he took everything that he was doing seriously, and not in a physical way, but he will fight for anything that he loves to do. Very giving person, generous. Darius, right now, if you go to my garage, I have about 15 to 20 pairs of jeans and clothes that he had given to me to give to the poor and the needy. He cares so much about the poor and the needy. Last September, when I was going to Africa, he gave me about 10 pairs of shoes, expensive ones, just to give it to people. But he always placed himself behind others. He's a selfless person. And losing Darius in such a manner is a very, very, very painful, very excruciating, painful way that I wouldn't want to wish this kind of loss to even my neighbor. And I believe that I will say it in a very blank way, they did not treat my son seriously. Whoever was supposed to make a decision treated my son like an animal. They didn't care about him. They thought that maybe he has visited his girlfriend, but we know our son more than anybody. My son has never, and I say it again, he has never even slept with a woman before. He kept himself pure. He never drank alcohol. He never did anything that the so-called ordinary average child would do. He has the intention to keep himself pure before he gets his wife, because that's how we trained him. Darius will never do anything to embarrass us. If he knew that he was coming here for this situation should happen, trust me, he will not come, because he listens to us. He's a good listener, and he will never talk back. And that is how I can describe Darius, a man full of love, full of patience, long-suffering. That's the kind of person that we were raising, so that this world will be a better place to be, because he cared dearly about anybody who came around him.
I mean, it makes me so sad because Darius had just finished his IT program in UX and UI design at George Washington University. He paid for his own school out of pocket. That's why he was working the job that he was working, just to pay for school and to finish. He was working on his portfolio so that he could start his career. He just had so much hope ahead of him. And it's sad. It's sad. And it makes me even more sad that it seems like they don't want to investigate the case and they're trying to find a way to just close the case. But even if they try to close the case, they still have to explain why it took 10 days to find him and they weren't even the ones that found him. That we need answers. We still need answers. We really do.
You mentioned your son loved nature. Did he like coming to this park, certain parks? Did he enjoy being out?
Yeah, so there's a lake by our house. He walks there all the time. I can even recall him having a conversation with me and telling me that there's this really nice park in the city of Fredericksburg. I couldn't remember the name, but it might have been this park that he was referring to. I don't know if there's any other parks, but he told me that it was beautiful, beautiful scenery. And so that's why I'm like, I don't know. Did he come here just to enjoy the scenery, walk around? He got off work early. The weather was in the 60s that day. Maybe he thought it was a nice day to get something to eat and come to the park. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, he never got home, and it took 10 days for him to be found. And he wasn't even found by the police, but he was found in the area that the police claim they searched.
One thing I will also say is that they told us on Friday that they were going to bring extra tools to be able to thoroughly search for him. We were just about 50 yards or so away from the gate. We never heard any dog bark. We didn't see any helicopter in the sky or a drone. Yes, on Friday, there were 2 helicopters and a drone. And they told us that it wasn't enough because they couldn't find him. So they were going to increase whatever they needed to do to find him. So with 2 helicopters and a drone, and people with technical know-how, people who have been trained to look for the lost, or people who are missing, how come they couldn't find him? People who didn't have any tool, just used their bare hands. No proper gear. I was in the water too, with just a pair of jeans and a sneaker. And they found him within 45 minutes. We need answers. They told us that 443 acres of land had been covered. I live in a neighborhood of 50 acres. So let's take the 40 away, and it multiplied by 8, we'll get 400. It's a very vast land. So if you're telling me that you've covered all this vast land, but we walk less than a mile to find somebody. And it wasn't that he was buried in the sand. According to those who saw him, he was leaning on what? A log. So it was so clear in our eyes, we didn't need any microscope. We didn't need any machine to enlarge him to see him.
Yeah, I would be very interested to find out what footage they have for their drones, and if they went in that area with those drones, why didn't they see him? And if they claim that he wasn't there, then they need to stop saying that there's no foul play then. Or we need to figure out then how did he get there? Because there's a lot of questions.
And now they want to say that they discovered him.
Yeah, I've seen in some articles that it's like they're leaving out the fact that it was the community and the search team that found him. And so, and then they try to minimize the efforts by saying dozens of people, but we're upwards of 200 people here. And so that was the effort. That was the love that showed up that day that accomplished something.
Again, just to clarify, 7 days between the police search when they said he isn't in the park and then Darius being found. 7 days?
Yes, 7 days. We came back on Sunday to look the following day after the police search. Like I told you, the water had risen so high, so we weren't able to see anything in the water. Others came and looked around as well. And then on Saturday, we coordinated that if the police have not located Darius, that we would tentatively come here and look for him. And I called the police on Thursday, the sheriff's office, and asked them, did they have an update? And also wanted to inform them that if they have not located Darius, we're going out for a search party. And that's when the sheriff informed us that he wouldn't be there Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And so that Saturday, we searched again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
I believe that's all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was the full press conference from the families of the late Julius Appian. Darius Appian, sorry. That was a very sad story coming from the family. They are still not happy with the attitude of the U.S. Police Department as to how the search party was done. And according to them, the police could not even trace or locate their son. But they took the community, the normal friends and sympathizers to help them in search of the son, and they were able to locate him dead. So they still want to find out how the police were not able to proceed in their searching when they reported the case to the Virginia State Police Department. They are suspecting foul play because, one, they think somebody might have killed him and dumped him close to where they found the body. So that is why they are still looking for answers. But my point of view, if you look at the picture, how they say they found his car parked, and the woman too said they are still now looking for his mobile phone. So it means he left with a mobile phone, and as at now, they have not been able to trace the mobile phone. And that is a gadget. So if they want to do more investigations, they can search and find out a number of people he spoke to before he vanished, the last calls. And I think one of the calls they said they found him, where they found a message which indicated he ordered food from DoorDash. So that one fine. But before that and after that, there should be answers. After the DoorDash delivery driver dropped the food, after what next with his communications from the phone, that is where they will be able to gather such information. That area to our police serious investigations antics, that is where they will be able to come out with more details as to who or how he was not able to be located on that fateful 24th January. It's a very sad story. And if you watch the screen, informations over there are funeral and burial details, so you can watch, and then let's go and support our brother's family to ensure they organize a befitting ceremony for him. An IT student, I'll try to be one of the best. I'll be both Ghana and America. Oh, yeah. May his soul rest in peace, Darius. And we say from here on you can subscribe to the page or channel and then get notified as soon as we drop any video. Once again, thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.